Welcome to Confirmation Bias, presented by the League Ambassadors.
I'm Ambassador Kenny Ken. Joel Embiid, this is for you. Cry baby, sit on the bench, trying to make a bucket with the wrong offense. And that's my confirmation bias.
I'm Ambassador Junior Blue, and I wish we had gone over these before the show, because basically mine was, you can never go full ugly cry. And that's my confirmation bias.
It still works, baby. I'm Ambassador Dad, and if you rely on someone else or the man to help provide for you and your family, you can't wait on that. We're just numbers on the board, and tomorrow you could be packing your shit and looking for another place. And that's my confirmation bias.
Ooh, and I'm Ambassador Chef Curry. And every NFL owner has shut the fuck up money. But for Patriots owner Robert Kraft, it's clear to say he has no you shut the fuck up money. And that's my confirmation bias.
Welcome to Confirmation Bias, presented by the League Ambassadors. This is episode 73 of our podcast. Kevin, that was funny. As a reminder, you can follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. Please check out our website, theleagueam.com. Please subscribe to, share, and rate our YouTube channel, League Ambassadors. Also, follow us on Twitch. This is going to be a good show. We are going to talk a lot about the NBA playoffs. What's the score right now, Dad?
We might be a little behind, but it's 59-48 Golden State.
62-48.
60, there it is. East Coast always ahead of the West Coast. And so we'll talk about the NBA playoffs. We'll talk a little bit about the Premier League. Golf's got a major this weekend. Tiger Watch. The NFL's got a new initiative over in the UK. But first, let's jump into the NBA playoffs. We had a very fun and entertaining Mother's Day in the association. This is our hot topic. Game 7, we had first the Portland Trailblazers, who are playing tonight, take on the Denver Nuggets and win Game 7 on the road, 100-96. And then following that, the Toronto Raptors, led by Mr. Kawhi Leonard, at the buzzer, send the Philadelphia 76ers packing.
To the ugly cry.
Right. Let's start with that Denver-Portland game. What went wrong for the Nuggets? They were at home. I don't know I think the percentage is 78%, I think. Game 7s in the playoffs, the home team wins. What went wrong for the Nuggets, Junior Blue?
Murray shooting 4 for 18. Mm-hmm. That was a problem. I mean, he put up 17 points, but in 18 shots is not good. In honor of Mr. Hall of Good, only had 10 points.
Paul Millsap
only had 10 points after averaging 17 for the series, and he fouled out. So it just, they didn't show up in the Game 7.
Didn't they also have a 17-point lead in that game?
That is correct.
Yeah, because something went right for Portland.
His name was C.J. McCollum. Yeah, McCollum kept him in it.
I think for me, it was not necessarily just that game, but like several games earlier. I forget which. I don't know if it was the overtime game, but the game where they made the comeback, but they fell short because they started going inside. They failed to realize their advantages in the series, I think. And let's be honest, Portland only has one big man, and Denver has the big man right now. And not being able to take advantage of that. I mean, it was easy money. Like, basketball is a very simple game, and in the playoffs is a different sport. And you saw what happened when they did that, and they couldn't be stopped. And then they just, you know what? Nah, we're going to do what everybody else is doing.
It's funny that you mentioned. It's funny that you mentioned size, because for me, I had been saying all series. In fact, when we talked about the series, I said Zach Collins was going to be. He could be a key factor, because after that first game, Paul Millsap was killing him in the post, and that lack of size was apparent. But I felt like Zach Collins was somebody that could impact Paul Millsap and also give them more size on the glass. And really, he played an effective, I think, 25 minutes. He's actually been on a 2-game streak there. But I also, I felt like the 3 guys for Denver, and it's not that, Junior Blue had said something on Sunday to us, Kevin, that, we don't necessarily give Denver credit, but it's not that Denver is a bad team. I think it's a team where the sum is greater than the individual parts. And I felt like
absolutely
I felt like you can't beat Denver if Murray, Millsap, and Jokic go off. But if you could somehow contain one of them, Portland for sure had a chance to win. And in Game 7, they effectively there were 2 guys that didn't show up, in both Millsap and Murray. And
it was a close game. So if they had held just Millsap or just Murray, I think they win, because Joker is a beast.
But the flip to that is also, Dame Lillard went 3 for 17.
Right.
Yeah. So he went 3 for 17, but I don't necessarily think he had a bad game. He affected the game.
He almost had a triple double.
I feel you.
Yeah. And it wasn't one of those like Russell Westbrook triple doubles.
Right.
Like it was more meaningful. Like he was leading them. He was off, but he was making sure everybody was doing what they were doing.
He did a better job of that, I think, in the second half. In the first half,
because he realized he couldn't hit, so he realized what he had to do.
He kept
and that's what a leader does.
Jumpers.
And the key to the game was Mr. Evan Turner.
Evan Turner,
the thief.
I've been ragging.
Hold on.
He's still a thief.
Through the first 6 games, he had 4 points
total,
and scored 14 in Game 7.
And he hit some clutch free throws.
Yeah,
he hit clutch free throws down the stretch.
Joker didn't do, which I felt bad for him, but he missed the free throw down the stretch, and I think he did that too.
He did an overtime game.
In an overtime game, right? He ended up missing those free throws, but I think what came to light for Denver was what we honestly thought was going to happen in that Spurs series was that maybe that experience would hit him, or that because they don't have a go-to guy, like it looked like that down the stretch.
Yes.
Had they had a Kawhi, had they had a Lillard or McCollum, that series would have ended up going their way. But they haven't, on top of the fact that they haven't experienced it yet, they just don't know what to do in those moments. But they'll definitely be back.
Yeah, and on the flip side with Portland, you mentioned CJ stepped up, but throughout the series, there were multiple people that stepped up. Rodney Hood. I mean, he got hurt in that game. But then you had Farouk
Aminu.
He came through a couple games, like you said. Collins stepped up.
Yeah.
So they just had different people step out throughout the entire series to help give them, that push, that extra push that you needed. And we all thought going in that Denver was probably the deeper team, but they don't have any experience, and it kind of showed up in. You like Gary Harris, and then Jamal Murray is their guy, but like he doesn't play like a point guard.
No, he doesn't, and we had that conversation. I feel bad for Gary Harris. I do, because I think as long as he's there with Jamal Murray, you're not going to see what, like when Gary Harris came into the league, the comp was Dwayne Wade. And I was like, I don't know what people were watching when they said that.
It's the athleticism that he doesn't know he had.
Right.
Because when what day was that we were at the crib?
That was Sunday. That was not last Sunday. That was not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before.
Like when he was up around with his ankles around the rim, and he didn't realize how high he was.
And honestly, even in Game 7, it was him and Jokic that were carrying the day. But to your point, not having a true point guard. What's wrong, Kev?
Well, no, for those exact reasons, though, Dev, to go back to Gary Harris, I was with Kristen watching the game. We were like, yo, he reminds us of Miles, not only because of his physical look, but he don't know how much taller than you he is. He realized one day that he damn near 6 feet tall. It's the same thing with Gary Harris. Like, bro, you are athletic. You are talented. He just can't
The reverse he had was
reverse he had was stupid. But Kevin, he needs that point guard though
to push it out of him.
So you're sitting on a gold mine in Denver in Gary Harris because you're placing all your chips in Jamal Murray, who frankly I don't think will ever be that guy.
He's a combo guard, and Jamal Murray would be good.
He's 22 though.
Right.
I mean, he got room to grow.
But he's not somebody that you need to have the ball. He needs to have the ball in his hands every play. Their point guard is their center.
Right.
And he's only their point guard in the half court, which it's an equal opportunity. They do a lot of motion. It's a lot of equal opportunity. So again, that sort of one-on-one dynamic feature that is clearly there in Gary Harris, I don't know that it'll ever come out. But we'll talk about their future prospects. But first, let's go to that other Game 7, which, listen, it's 48 minutes in a game, right, Dad?
Approximately.
For 45 minutes of game time, that was one of the shittiest games that I've seen in quite a while. And then
It was a rock fight.
It was a rock fight. And then the last 3 minutes, it got interesting. As you've seen, I'm sure everyone has seen Kawhi Leonard. I think 4 seconds left. After missing a key free throw in the previous possession, and great play by Jimmy Butler. You know, if you're into basketball and playing the right way, it was a great move by Jimmy.
We're gonna get
there. Great move by Jimmy to push it. But Kawhi Leonard, game winner. What went wrong for the Sixers, Dad?
For the Sixers, I think you have to take a look at the big glaring hole in the middle. When your best player averages 18 and 9, and he's 7'1", 2. What is he?
He's 7 something.
He's 7 foot. He's the biggest motherfucker on the court.
Mm-hmm.
And he's second on the team and in scoring and in rebounds. And that's just one facet of that. That's the process, right? That's his nickname.
Mm-hmm.
Or Hulu has live sports. Shout out to Hulu. Let's get some money.
That's funny.
So there's that.
Shout out to Disney.
Right. Yeah. So then you have that. And then you have to have a real live point guard. Yep. This Pinocchio Ben Simmons shit ain't working. He has to give you more. And look, his shooting has been criticized by everyone. No.
Be correct.
No.
His non-shooting.
Same thing.
His jump shot doesn't look broke.
No, it's just he can't shoot. He doesn't have confidence. But what I'm getting to is
confidence.
He only averaged 12 points in the game, and I'm rounding up. By the way, the 18 and 9 was me rounding up for everything. 12 points a game.
I'm rounding up.
And just 5 assists a game as a guard who's supposed to be Magic Johnson-like, LeBron-like, facilitating and getting everyone involved. If you're second on the team behind Jimmy Butler in assists, who was also number 1 in scoring and number 1 in assists on the team, which we're going to get to, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the fuck went wrong. Your future folded.
Did they fold, Kevin? Or there was a conscious decision made that your point guard, Ben Simmons, can't be on the ball because he gunks up the rest of the offense because whoever's guarding him will just sag off of him in the paint. And so then you had to give the ball to Jimmy, who he is going to be guarded honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it a step further. Ben Simmons can't be on the court in the last 3 minutes of a game. I mean, he's a non-factor. He took 5 shots in that game? He went 4 or 5, but the fact that he only took 4 shots in a game where you're struggling offensively. And on top of that, he would be aggressive early on. You would see him posting up. And then down the stretch, he would fade away. So I think, and this
because I don't want them free throws.
Yeah,
what was that?
I want to pay for my throws. I don't want them for free.
I mean, listen, and then add on top of the fact that this goes back to my point about their coach Brett Brown, was that I don't think he put them in a position to win. When at some point I'm calling a timeout with my 7-foot all-stars at the 3-point line, damn near half court.
Kevin,
we're struggling to get a basket.
Kevin, I have to ask you though. Is that coach related? Because that's just what they do. I mean, if we were to go play right now, out of shape as I am, and there's a big fucking monster that walks on the court, we're not shooting threes. We're feeding you the post, ball in the post, whether I can shoot or not. Double off me all you want, because guess what? If he kicks it out to me, 1, I'm going to hit it because I'm not Ben Simmons. But 2, I'm going to get the offense going. There's no creativity. There's nothing. It's the players. Brett Brown can drop all he wants, but why is Embiid at the top of the key pump faking? Because we know he's fucking pump faking. If you go for I think, as sorry as Mark Jackson is as a commentator, when he said we should start finding people for jumping for Embiid's pump fakes. Because you know he's going to do it. He's wasting energy. He's wasting time to get where he was going to be. We broke down.
There were damn near 3 shot clock violations down the stretch. Like, yeah, I mean, okay, Embiid, sure, get in the post, but who tells him that? The guy that y'all extended last year, who's going to come back another year?
No, the 6'10" point guard.
Or that's my point. Or your point guard, or your leader. At some point, if the guys on the court can't figure that out, it's the head coach. It has to be. And although I like their pieces, and we'll get to this, bro, that's what he's there for. That's literally why we have a coach, to do things that players on the court can't do themselves. And Brett Brown didn't do it.
Last year,
especially with young players.
Last year, Ben Simmons had the same issue against Boston. They packed the paint against him, and he can't do anything else. It's all fun and games during the regular season, and no defense is being played. But then you get to the playoffs, and people are like, yeah, go ahead and shoot it. You don't want to shoot. It's hard to get in the post when you have somebody sagging off all the time. He doesn't really cut to the basket.
No.
So, I mean, what is his purpose when Embiid is in the post?
He can be beneficial playing the high post and be like a point forward, which is kind of what he is, but get him out of the top of the key where he can be sagged off, because then he honestly needs to be posting up himself if he can't do anything else.
Exactly.
But he can initiate that and get people where they need to be, which I don't think he knows how to do.
But now to Kevin's point, are we getting into X's and O's, guys? And so then is it Brett Brown's fault?
Bro, if I'm 22 years old, I've been playing basketball 17 years, I know that.
Yep.
I knew that in fucking high school.
We've seen some players play longer than him. I.e. Russell. It's coaching, especially when you're that young, when you have that many pieces and it's obvious why you're struggling. That's coaching.
Well, let's stay in Philadelphia, because now we got to do a postmortem. We got to do a postmortem for Philly. We got to do a postmortem for Denver. We also got to do one for fuck Boston Celtics.
Exactly.
And we got to do one for Houston. So we'll stay in Philly. Let's see. Let me go down the list here because I've got it. Free agents in Philadelphia. J.J. Redick, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, T.J. McConnell, Amir Johnson, Mike Scott, who said he ain't no bitch, Boban Marjanovic, and James Ennis, who actually kept Philadelphia in the series on the low. James Ennis. What do they have to do to get better? Who do they re-sign? What do they do?
Well, I can tell you what they need to do to get better. The process has to learn how to play winning basketball, and they have to learn how to play playoff basketball. That's point blank, period. Ben Simmons has to grow in some facet. He got to excel at something. If he's not going to be a better shooter, he's got to be a better, an excellent passer, an excellent defender. He has to show his worth. Because, like you said, that shit's cute in the regular season. Playoff time, Kevin said he can't be on the court in the last 3 minutes.
I think his whole game opens up. He stays in the gym and he shoots.
Yes,
like that.
I think we
There is no. He can become a better passer.
I'm saying if he can't.
No.
It's in his fucking head.
His shot is not broke. That's what you see. Some people come in the league and you're like, oh, you're never gonna know how to shoot.
It's 100% mental with him.
It's 100% mental with that. I mean, like, there is no broken part of his jump shot, but yet he doesn't have confidence in him. That's when you go in there.
You don't even know what hand he want to shoot with less.
That's facts.
Yeah, for real.
That's facts.
Hey.
It's a benefit to him
It's like
guarding
folks.
him because he looks right-handed, but he really is left-handed. But he goes, so it's a benefit to him. But you're right. You can see, like, sometimes he doesn't know.
Figure that shit out over the summer.
Kevin.
But that's okay.
It's
If
a
you're
short
going to
3
tell me
months.
trust the process, then actually do that. Allow these guys to grow together. Allow him to work on his game in the offseason. Allow Embiid to watch tape of Jokic post up when it matters, and you'll get that. But I think what you're about to go, Kenyon, and I'll just keep this ball rolling.
Yep.
Who do they keep?
Yep.
I would have stopped at the first 3. I'm going to try to keep 2 out of 3 between Tobias, Jimmy, and JJ. I feel like JJ's the odd man out because of just strictly because of money. But you need a guy like Jimmy. Like you need a crazy dude on your team. You need someone that's semi Draymond, but someone who can also get a shot.
He's the only closer
down
they
the
got.
stretch when it matters.
He's the only closer they got.
That's tough because JJ keeps. I mean, I would agree with you if you told me that Ben Simmons was actually going to shoot in the summer.
Exactly.
Because J.J. Redick keeps the floor somewhat spread. You know, Tobias Harris, like he's a good shooter, but we know when J.J. Redick's on the floor, J.J. Redick is a 3-point threat. So it keeps the floor spaced.
For the same price, do you keep Redick and Harris over Butler?
Because I'm not confident in what Ben Simmons is going to be? Absolutely not. Jimmy is priority one.
Okay.
I believe that because he's the closer.
He is the closer.
Because Embiid can't bring the ball up and post up and shoot three, pump fake, and rebound and block.
But are you a championship team without Embiid being your closer, though?
I mean,
if you got Jimmy.
No, you have Jimmy, but if Jimmy's your closer, is that a championship team?
If Embiid plays in the paint more, like...
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Because all that extra shit, all the mental mistakes that he makes because of fatigue doesn't happen because he's not doing the extra shit.
He's not doing... I honestly, more than anything, whether if they decided to keep Jimmy or if they decided to keep Tobias, and I agree with you guys, I think Jimmy is the guy that you keep. But if the two youngins would just do what they're supposed to do, Philly is at minimum an Eastern Conference team, if not a finals team. If those two guys just do what they're supposed, if Ben Simmons actually attempts jump shots and makes teams believe that he's going to shoot the rock, and if Embiid would just be more versatile and get in the paint.
He's got to be a threat, and whether he can shoot or not, like I think you said this a few weeks ago, and I might have disagreed with you, but he has to at least be that threat.
Yes.
Because if he's not taking it, you're not even worried about it.
Because that's the reason why he's off the ball.
Even if you're shooting 22% from three.
That's the reason why he's off the ball in in-game situations. They can't. They tried that with Boston last year. They put him on the ball. He doesn't want to shoot free throws, and they sag off, which messes up any sort of motion or offense that they have in in-game situations.
And I hate to keep bringing up Draymond's name, but it's the perfect comparison because we all know Draymond's the one guy you want shooting that shot on Golden State.
But he'll take it.
If he hits one or two of them motherfuckers, you're going home in 4 games.
Yeah.
And that's all he has to do. Just be a threat to take it. You don't have to make it. Just be a threat to take that shot.
All right, let's go to them punk ass Celtics. I mean, the flame went out as the flame was burning bright 10 days ago.
And where's that draft pick they got from Memphis?
Oh, it's cold.
It's like what, 14?
It's 14. Yeah, we'll get to that. But we'll say that, yeah. So the pick situation didn't work out. They came into the season and, it's like, oh, we can have, Memphis's pick. We got Sacramento's pick. And guess what? They're all shitty picks. Their picks are shitty. That's number one. Number two, they got dusted off real quick by the Milwaukee Bucks.
Gentleman's sweep.
Gentleman's sweep.
Hello.
Terry Rozier is a restricted free agent, and he had an announcement today for everybody that said that if we bring in the same squad back, then I'm not coming back.
Wait. If we bring in Kyrie back, I'm not coming back.
Hey, let's get into what it really was.
That's what he said.
Kyrie's a free agent. Al Horford's a free agent. Marcus Morris is also a free agent.
Yep.
I'll start with, because I don't really care about what they need to do to get better. Let's start with...
No, let's not do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do it, Devin. Fuck them. Go ahead.
I don't give a shit.
What do they have to do to get better, Devin?
One, they got to make sure that their GM is healthy.
This is the second one.
Yeah.
Heart attack. That is.
But they have to get that talent to work together. They have to get the right pieces. They have a whole bunch of talent that doesn't fucking fit.
You know what? So what Terry Rozier said. It was interesting. He said it at the end of the interview. He said what happened this year was this. Straight up. Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving. The way that they were coached and what was asked of them was different than everybody else. And the moment that the coaches decided effectively to stop coaching them, we couldn't figure out anything else.
Wait, Ken, what interview were you watching? Because the one that I saw, which shows what the Boston Celtics are right now, but he basically was like, look, what we did in practice, what we worked on in practice, was not what we did come game time. And Mike, one of the Mike and Mike,
Greenberg.
Was like, wait, no, Greenberg, expand on that. What do you mean? He said, we put a game plan together. This is what we're going to do to win, to get everybody involved. And come game time, certain people ain't do what we practice.
Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving.
So it comes down to me, really, it comes down to those two people. Honestly, I think you just get rid of Kyrie. If you can bring back the majority of these parts, it's strictly a chemistry issue. It's not X's and O's. It's not anything extravagant. They just couldn't play well with Kyrie. They had all of these guys whose game regressed. If you want to look at Hayward, fine, but there's no reason Jason Tatum's game should have had that much of a drop-off at his age when we saw what he could do just last year. You add Kyrie, and all of a sudden, look at how these pieces don't fit anymore. I think they'll be perfectly fine if he walks and they bring everybody back. They'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
There's no question. Kyrie's fucking out of there. Who also is not out of there is Hayward. They paid that motherfucker. He ain't going nowhere.
I'm trying to tell you, man. I said it last week. I've been saying it all season. He's a thief. They'll find out, though.
No, yeah, it's if I think the first domino. If Boston's smart, they make this Kyrie shit very quick and easy, so they can keep Scary Terry.
Mm-hmm. He's a restricted free agent, so they have the right to match. I don't know that there's a team out there. I don't know what Phoenix's cap situation is, but I don't know that there is a team out there that A, needs a point guard, and B, will have the money to mess up the cap situation. Oh, Philadelphia. Oh,
we just spent the whole 20 minutes talking about him.
Jimmy and Kyrie is a no-go
at all.
No, I was just fucking.
Oh, to mess up to tie it, because the thing with the restricted free agent, right, is that you can make an offer and put the pressure on the team to match, and then if they match, it ties.
Chicago needs a point guard too.
Yeah, they got Levine running point right now, don't they?
Man, he's off guard.
Chris Dunn.
Oh shit.
Well, can I put my 2 cents about Boston?
Sure.
I want to go.
Michael Bivins.
I hope this is how it goes. Kyrie goes to New York. They trade all of their bullshit assets to the Pelicans for Anthony Davis.
Okay.
And then let me give you a bonus one for next year. Anthony Davis comes to the Lakers.
I knew you would benefit from this at the end, Les. I just didn't know where.
You should have known.
All right, let's move on to the aforementioned Denver Nuggets. The only free agent they have of note is Mr. Paul Millsap, and what's interesting about him is that it's a team option.
Yep.
So the team gets to decide what to do with him.
With that $30 million.
He's gonna. Well, it's a team option.
It's a team
It's
option.
team option.
Oh, that's done. But I think what they are going to do, because they like what they have to have somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing there. So they bring him back for he that $30 million 1 year shit was not going to happen with him.
Right.
So they give him a few more years of some security.
Oh, a team-friendly deal.
Yeah.
They break it down. They take that $30 million and turn
over
it
2 years.
Yeah. Or maybe even 3.
Yeah.
3 years?
Because he's 34.
He is 34.
He needs one more paycheck, and I mean that would be bad business. 1 year, $30 million.
That Sean Marion.
Or
deal.
do you let him walk and use that money elsewhere and go and try and find you that guy,
a veteran guy that can help with the locker room? Where they grow them at?
You know what? I hate to say this, and we should cut it after I say it. But if they let Paul walk, Harrison Barnes is out there. I really think. No, film me. What?
Kevin.
Film me.
Kevin.
They don't need a great go-to top elite kind of guy. They just need a guy, a 3 or 4 who can stretch the floor, he can probably hit that shot now in his career. He didn't do it in Golden State. But I think
the ESPN show that you can mute the motherfucker?
What team is he on now?
Is he not?
I think he's in Dallas.
Is he not in Dallas?
I think he's in Sacramento.
All I'm gonna say
He's definitely in Sacramento. He's no longer in Dallas. Mark Cuban couldn't get rid of that doo-doo fast enough.
They need a solid 3 or 4 who can stretch the floor for the cheap. He don't have to be great, because they don't need a great go-to player. They just need depth. And I think Harrison Barnes can do it for him.
I'd rather just bring Michael Porter Jr. along.
Well, and he comes back, so that's
No. We're not gonna let Kevin get away with that.
Yes, we will.
I mean, we're definitely gonna cut that. But are you serious, Kevin?
Listen, their strength is in numbers. We saw that. They need depth. I'm not gonna pay Paul Millsap $30 million.
Kevin researched this show. Let him rock.
Just let me. I'm not saying it's completely gonna fix their ills. I'm saying it's gonna replace production at a lower cost. We talking business. This ain't sport no more. It's
Harrison Barnes.
He's probably gonna get more money than Millsap.
Harrison Barnes.
He won't. That's fine. That's fine.
Let's get to.
Give me 6 months.
Let's get to the other dumbass team that got eliminated. The Houston Rockets. They lost.
Did they now?
Game 6. Watch this. Game 6 at home to what's supposed to be their fiercest rival, who didn't have their best player. And in a must-win game, I mean, they just lost. And the season's over.
Before we go any further, can we talk about the last 18 seconds of that game?
Go ahead, Dev.
So 18 seconds, right? Les?
Yes.
Yeah, 18.
You're down 4 points. So we're not fouling?
Nah.
So they foul the shit out of several guards that can shoot good free throws who give it up to Kayvon Looney.
Iguodala had
Iguodala. It was
had
Iggy.
Yeah.
Both of them had it at one point. And you don't foul either one of them?
Well, Iggy just kind of no, that was K who just threw it away.
Clay threw it away.
Yeah. I don't know what they were doing.
All right. Never. Fuck them.
We called them stupid game 1, so.
I mean,
They was stupid last year.
Yeah, my bad.
it was stupid the year before too, right?
So
Right.
y'all mean to tell me that this is the case with the Rockets, and the only common denominator here, just like the Celtics, is the motherfucker that they got coaching who was causing all these issues. Easy fix. Get D'Antoni the fuck out of there. They have the pieces to beat Golden State. They have it. We're not going to disagree about that. They have the pieces. They just don't play the right basketball to do so. To me, I think the common thread is D'Antoni.
I'm going to play a devil's advocate. Because again, and maybe it speaks to where we are in the NBA, that there are not a lot of good coaches available. So if you're going to get rid of D'Antoni, who's won a lot of games, who are you replacing him with? Kevin, Devin,
Tyronn
Les.
Lue ain't doing a motherfucker.
I mean, 70% winning percentage is hard to
Talk to me.
Right. So
That's regular season.
It is regular season.
That's
and
Ben Simmons' time.
Okay, so who are you going to replace him with then?
fuck if I know. Y'all barely found a coach.
Anyone who can tell that team to not shoot 43s in a game, or that a step back three is not in the fourth quarter is not the same shot as in the first, second, and third. That's all they really need. They would have beaten Golden State had they taken 5 or 6
if
better
they
shots.
extend the fucking game.
No one's going to step in and tell him that that's a bad shot, because you look at D'Antoni in his presser, and he's like, well, that's what we do. That's what got us here. Bruh, this is a different season. The regular season is not the playoffs. But he thinks that they can do what they did in November in May and June, and it's not going to happen. That's why they home.
Kevin, send a snail mail letter to Maury and see if he understands that shit, because that's what he likes.
Hey, what's funny is what they did in November, or middle of October to November, probably works better in the playoffs than what they did the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So
pointless.
I think the other thing to sort of highlight while we're discussing and doing a postmortem on Houston is this, and we can and then we'll transition to the conference finals preview. Chris Paul is done.
no, he's not.
He left it out on the floor, B.
Chris,
he's not done on the books.
Chris,
$41 million for the next 3 seasons.
He's not done on the books. But Chris Paul is done. Yeah. So and the thing and here's how you know he's done.
He needs a man unit or a brush.
That's funny. Besides the fact that he wasn't getting past anybody, he was struggling on offense when the ball found him. And you look at his numbers, he averaged 6 assists in the playoffs period. But beside all of that, the main reason why they were excited when they got Chris Paul was because they knew James Harden wasn't the killer. Chris Paul was the killer. This is the first time when Chris Paul actually finished the playoffs healthy. And you could see, first of all, you could see it in the game before when Kevin Durant got hurt. James Harden took one shot down the stretch. Chris Paul had the ball, and he was trying to make it happen.
So what does that say?
But he couldn't make it happen. Same thing in game 6.
No, but what does that say? More so than the 34, 35-year-old Paul. What does that say about Mr. MVP?
Oh, well, I mean, it is what it is. James Harden, and I hate to say it because he's from L.A., and I feel a way about cats from L.A., but shouldn't. James Harden, oh, man, nah. We legit. We solid. James Harden, though.
You sound like you had a convention or something.
Nah, James Harden, yeah, it's tough.
And did you hear him say that, I know what we need to do? Why the fuck you ain't do it the last 2 years then?
Yeah, I want to know what that answer is on the low. I want to know what that answer is.
I want to know what the answer was.
Kevin, I want to know what that answer is.
This was something that he's always done, but I didn't notice how much Chris Paul flopped until this series.
he's
And I
always
think
done
it's
that.
to your point, is that he was trying so hard to get calls and sell calls because he physically
He can't do it.
can't just do it
He can't do
anymore.
it.
It was hard to watch, man.
So now we're in the conference finals. We've got in the Western Conference the Golden State Warriors going against the Portland Trailblazers. What's the score, gentlemen?
It's on commercial, I believe. It's
I think
like
they're up 13.
Up 13. Okay, and then in the East,
90-79.
Okay.
Golden State.
Oh, okay. Up
and
11.
then the East, we've got Milwaukee, the 1 seed, going against Toronto Raptors, the 2 seed. How does Portland? First of all, does anyone think Portland wins this series? No.
no, I think it'll be entertaining.
Did y'all see the meme that said if Dame goes off like he did against OKC and CJ McCollum goes off like he did against Denver and the role players step up, still got Warriors in 4. That
Hey,
explains it.
to Portland's credit, I picked them to be here in the conference finals, but nah, this is a wash. They might get a game, but
That's it.
this is Warriors all the way.
I got a 6.
You got a 6.
I got a 6
Let's have a
because
conversation, Dev. How they get it to 6?
I have it 6 just because the Warriors always fuck around.
Yeah.
Okay, and no Kevin Durant, probably for 2 games.
I don't believe Kevin Durant is an issue in this series or in the finals.
Wouldn't
If he
matter.
doesn't play. I don't think.
I think it cost them a game though.
Right, but I think,
Just one game?
I've said this, not that they're better, but I think they play better basketball
Agreed.
without Kevin Durant.
But the lack of depth doesn't make you
that's a
guys.
problem.
That's in my keys for the series.
Okay.
It's the Blazers' shot selection versus Golden State's depth.
I like that.
Because if they play within themselves and do what they can do to win, that makes that depth fucking more of an issue.
I want to add to that and say it's not just the depth, but it's that Portland has to do what the Clippers did. When the Clippers
They don't
bench,
have
when the Clippers, well, I'm saying when
Yeah, I got you.
when the Clippers bench came in, they outscored Golden State's depth or Golden State's bench by a whole lot. I think Portland's bench has to do
Rodney
the
Hood
same
has
thing.
14
I mean,
points.
that's not fair to say with them because Lou Will comes off the bench for them.
Like
Like
they're
they're
a starter. Legit.
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you talk about bench scoring, that's
Okay,
how
but
they'll
who's
do
gonna
it.
but who's gonna score for Golden State's bench?
Nobody. I mean, I understand that, but where is Portland's depth at?
I mean, it's Rodney
Like-
Hood. It's got to be Rodney Hood. It's
Rodney
got to be
Hood's having
Seth
a good-
Curry. It's got to be Evan Turner. It's got to be Zach
But
Collins.
that was my keys actually. Can Harkless, can Turner, can Aminu, can Hood turn themselves into scorers? Because if they can't hit shots, I don't think any team that plays with dominant scores can beat Golden State. I don't think the way they play defense, the way they sag off people who can't score, it's going to be a problem. That's
Especially if you jump shooters, right? Like at some point, one of these nights, you're going to be off.
Exactly.
CJ and Dame
Shot
are going to be off. What do you do?
Shot selection. I think that's where,
Exactly.
I agree with Dev.
Because
That's
when
a great
Dame
call.
and CJ attack the rim, they're hard to beat, and that's what CJ was like. Fuck it, it's Lehigh right
It's
now.
really Dame, and it's really Dame. I don't even think it's so much CJ.
He looked like he was throwing the game. The other
It's
day.
Dame's got it. Dame's got to go to the rack. But Kevin, what about if they make you play defense? If you got to play both ends of the court, doesn't that also tilt in Portland's favor?
It should. It should tilt in everybody's favor if you play winning basketball. But unfortunately, they don't. I mean, I don't know if y'all got a chance to watch the first half, but I mean, they just had breakdown after breakdown, and Clay was just getting easy looks like he was out there practicing. If that's how y'all gonna play, then just don't even show up for the other 3 games. This
Portland
is gonna be a
doesn't
wash.
play good defense.
Yeah.
So it's not a surprise that a team like Golden State is going to get open shots. Like, I mean, the chat's popping up here, and they talking about Portland's defense is basically leaving Curry open.
Which is a no.
Yeah, he's got what 30 something.
Yeah, so I mean, that's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, you get 13 from Harkless, 15 from Rodney Hood, 8 from Zach Collins, and you down double digits.
Let's go to the more interesting conference final: Milwaukee versus Toronto. Let's start with the predictions. Les, who do you have
I have Milwaukee
in
6.
Milwaukee in 6? Dad,
I have it going 7 games, and I'm going with the team that has somebody that's been there before.
Toronto. Kev,
There's also a conference final that I predicted. Toronto in 7.
I also have Toronto in 7, but I'm saying it real slow
Like you're trying to convince
because I don't trust Kyle Lowry, and I think
props to Kyle. Props to Kyle yesterday. His shot wasn't falling, but he
got
made those
rebounds.
plays. that other guys don't make when
He
they
made
shot
point guard
isn't
plays.
He
called.
made point guard winning plays.
He got paid. He got in shape before he got that contract. He got that contract, started eating real good. Real good.
I feel like the key matchups are the backcourt, specifically the point guard matchup in Toronto, and I'm not just saying Kyle Lowry versus Eric Bledsoe. I'm throwing Fred VanVleet in that because the one game that Toronto blew out Milwaukee, Kyle Lowry didn't play. Fred VanVleet did, and he had 21 points. I think it's the backcourts, and I also think it's Marc Gasol and Ibaka versus Lopez, Ilyasova, and Mirotic. I think that's what decides the series.
I just think that the Raptors are deeper with slightly better players. Now, Greek Freak is probably the MVP, but I think you have to be a fool if you're not looking at Kawhi like he's not the best player in these playoffs right now.
Yeah.
And he's a robot. That shot he hit, I had to pause Game of Thrones. I told you they got 10 minutes to get this shit together. So I'm turning on Game of Thrones, and then when I looked up because I had it on the back TV, I was like, "Oh, I got to pause this." And it stayed up long enough, and I was like, "That shit's going in."
Yeah.
I like what Milwaukee has done. The way they put shooters around the Greek Freak, it fits, it flows. Everybody knows their role. They're getting the Malcolm Brogdon back, which is going to be big for them.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of load off of Eric Bledsoe.
But honestly, to me, that was one of my key battles was the Bledsoe battle, and because they take games off.
Yeah.
You know, Bledsoe scored 5 points, Lowry scored 0 points.
Yeah.
You know, so
They're very similar
whoever
like
wins that battle, that sways the series to me, and also the fact that in that game 7. Toronto's secondary, third, and fourth
Siakam
players
was shook.
Siakam?
horrible.
Hey, man, you got to remember you from Africa, brother.
But that's
Stop
what I'm saying.
playing.
So, I mean, did the clock strike midnight on him?
No,
Yeah.
I think
you called him a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Let's play Siakam tough and called him a pumpkin.
Like,
He was like he's a
because-
game 7 pumpkin.
Honestly, it didn't look good. And hey, all props to Kawhi. He put them on his back.
He looked
and
like Kobe.
carried-
He looked like Kobe.
Carried them
He
to
did.
the conference finals. And if the rest of those players don't step up, it might be over in 5.
39 shots.
And Ken, that was a Kobe shot attempt too. The last one,
Yeah,
Dribble,
hell yeah.
escape all the way to the corner and let it go. That was
Yeah.
People are
that was
saying that
great.
that's
But
a
props
bad
to-
shot. That is
It's-
who do you want taking it? Nobody else wanted it,
You don't listen to people.
and
man.
he took 4 dribbles to get to that shot.
I'm trying to tell my Laker fans, stop listening to people. People don't know what they're talking about. Kevin, are you looking forward to the late game possessions where it's Kawhi versus the Greek Freak? Because I'm telling you, that's what I'm looking forward to. When it's 5 minutes left in the fourth, it's a tie game, and it's Kawhi versus Giannis.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. But to Les's point, the difference in who wins that series is what the others do, because it was clear, like you said, that no one else on Toronto wanted that. But I think that's the catch-22 when you have a guy like Kawhi, is that you rely on him, but then you end up relying on him way too much. And that's something that Milwaukee hasn't necessarily had to do just yet.
That's going to be a robot versus a machine. So let's get into black versus blue, our antonym segment. We're going to start this off with hope or hype. The 2019 Premier League, Man City, who actually were the champions, Liverpool, who were runner-up. They were far and away the best teams in this league, being 25 points ahead of the third place team, which was Chelsea. So the question we have here, hope or hype, will another team rise up to the top?
Nope. And, listen, people are already predicting that if Man City wins it next year, is that 3 in a row?
Yes.
This is kind of like what Golden State and Cleveland a couple years ago in the finals. It's like we know who's going to be there. I don't see anybody else coming up other than these two.
I mean, unless Chelsea or Manchester United go and pay $100 million for somebody, it's going to be the same too.
I say hope. I like the Wolverhampton Wanderers of the FC.
You are some shit.
I think it's
You
listen,
had some free time today.
Listen, let me tell you something, man. They were relegated 2 years ago.
Oh,
they were
Lord.
recently promoted.
That should tell you all you need to know.
No, they finished in 7th this year. But here's the thing. They're spending a lot of money on their players. They added Raul Jimenez, one of the top goal scorers out of Mexico. They've got Ruben Neves, who's been a key midfielder. And the thing for them was this. they are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Premier League at counters. They're actually more likely to win when they have 40% possession compared to if they have 55% possession, and they beat all top 6 teams in the league. I think they continue. I think they continue to make the jump. I think Raul Jimenez gets better, and I look for them to be in the mix in the next Premier League.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it's hype because Liverpool has been on this trajectory for 3 years running.
Right.
Man City, 4 years they've been on this trajectory, and I think they won it 3 years in a row. Chelsea, who was in 3rd place, just lost their best player. Hype.
Go Wolves.
Hey, that team. Hey, Kev, that team sound like a Quidditch team he made up from Harry Potter. Okay, hope versus hype. Just tonight, in a very different format, the NBA had their annual lottery show where the top 13 teams looked fucking shook on camera to find out what position they select in, and they did it very dramatic this year. The number 1 pick, who we all know it's a shoo-in. It's going to be Zion Williamson from Duke,
Which is why he was at the lottery,
which I've never fucking seen before. They had a player there.
I think Anthony
John Morant.
I think Anthony Davis did that when he knew for sure he was going to be number 1. But it is rare when the for sure number 1 pick is at the lottery. Like, yo,
Like for what?
don't mess this, because I want to know.
There is Twitter.
Ratings.
There, like, you wasted time. We knew what the fuck it was. But the number 1 pick went to the Pelicans, which is Kev. What is basketball?
It's entertainment.
Thank you. So hope versus hype for the Pelicans, because we know who they selected.
I think it's hope because they're for sure going to walk out of this draft with 2 top 4 picks.
Exactly.
The Lakers giving that cheeks up quick.
So they're going to walk out of this draft with 2 top 4 picks. I know David Griffin wants to strip it down to the studs. That also means Drew Holiday is going to be on the market and probably won't be there as well. So you're going to trade your 2 best players in a draft that is incredibly top heavy. And by incredibly top heavy, I mean after 4, it falls off.
I mean, after 2.
Frankly, yeah.
After 3,
Yeah,
I give
for
it
me,
3.
this is neither. This is reparations, honestly.
Yes, it is. Talk
The
about it,
NBA
Kev.
is trying to apologize and make up for New Orleans for what Magic fucking Johnson did to them a few months ago. Like, look, we're sorry, but here you go. Now you got some pieces to work with. It's gonna be interesting. Like Les brought it up a little earlier, but it'll be interesting to see how this then impacts the whole Anthony Davis thing. What happens with this whole Durant, Kyrie, Knicks thing? Because at the end of the day, I think they were the biggest losers. Not only not getting the 1st pick or the 2nd, they dropped to the RJ Barrett sweepstakes.
Hey, he not ready.
And he for sure not going to be ready in New York. Are you kidding me?
Shout out to Skinny. You know what I'm talking about. Junior Blue.
Honestly, I want to say that it's. I don't know, man. I'm just happy the Lakers don't pick 11th. That's the main thing.
Leave
for me.
it up to LA motherfucker to make it about them.
I'm just happy he ain't not picking 11.
All right, let's move on. Hit or flop. We spoke about this. You all right, kid? All right. We spoke about this a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure on which show, but the NFL Academy, which is basically a farm program in the UK, will increase its popularity. Will it increase the popularity of the NFL in the UK?
Yeah, they're opening up, doing stuff in the community. They're going to have more camps. They're looking to prospect for UK football talent in the high school age range. I think so.
I think it's a flop mainly because of the age. Like they're going 16 to 18-year-olds. I think at that point in time, a lot of us has already figured out what sports we're going to play, what we're good at. I honestly think they should have started at a younger age.
I think that by the time this gets rolling, that may change.
Yeah,
because right now we're still in the process of trying to gain basically market share over there as far as like the sport itself. I think it's a hit because anytime we get to go over there and talk about some more shit, it's a hit for the league. Hit or flop? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kev.
I was gonna say Les. That's a good point. If there were any criticism, I would feel you on that. I would just say I think it seems to be a hit because they got Patrick Mahomes and Odell Beckham kind of headlining the guys that are over there selling this thing. You're going to send two of the biggest stars of your game over there. I think the NFL is all in, especially with everything they're providing, like free Nike wear and equipment and eligibility for U.S. scholarships. I think hopefully it's good for the point you mentioned.
We're on to something.
You don't say that. Check out our podcast, 32 Kings Road, on our website, The League AM. John Beilein, head coach of Michigan, has just been announced as the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Can college coaches succeed with today's NBA players? Start with you, Kev.
I think it's going to be hard, and this goes back to the point we made about Ben Simmons. Are they going to allow Beilein a chance to develop players, because that's what he's great at? That's what Cleveland needs. And if they're only going to give him 2 or 3 years to work with the pieces they got, then hell no. He's going to be back coaching somewhere in college in a couple years. But I think if they give him a chance, really invest in his skills, plus what Cleveland needs, which is something Cleveland never does, that's the only way this is going to work.
So hit or flop?
It's a flop.
Said both.
It's Cleveland. It's Cleveland.
Junior Blue, hit or flop?
It's a flop for the exact same reason. They're not going to give him time to develop these players. I mean, he's been coaching at Michigan for 12 years. Every level that he coached at, from junior college, Division 1, 2, and 3, he brought teams to championships. Mm-hmm. Maybe they didn't win them, just like Michigan didn't win it, but he got them to the Final Four in the championship.
Yep.
But it takes time to build that, to teach kids, and Cleveland's about to have a lot of kids.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a flop. I think the only way that the college coach can be good in the NBA is if you are young enough to adapt, like someone like a Brad Stevens. Because anytime you look at a Calipari, Patino, Larry Brown's the outlier as well, but I think he started in NBA first before he went to college. But anytime you look at those guys, they're not able to kind of rein those guys in, because a college coach on that level, they're the star. They're what the people actually pay tickets for, and they're control freaks, and they're coaching young men. These are grown men, although they might not really be. But this guy's 66 years old, so I don't think that he gets it done.
I think Beilein, he's got the right temperament, to your point, Devin. And you look at 2 of the last 3 college coaches that have made the transition over. You mentioned Brad Stevens, 270 and 222, and Billy Donovan, 199, 129. The guy in between them, though, is Fred Hoiberg, 115, 155. I think he'll get the time. He signed a 5-year deal. He's a coach that has been highly sought after, right behind Tom Izzo. I think the thing that Billy Donovan and Brad Stevens have in common, though, is talent. And Cleveland is bereft of talent at this point. So if he doesn't get talent over his 5 years, then I think he'll go the way that most of the college coaches have gone. But if he can get talent, whether that is develop talent, like in the case of Billy Donovan, he got there with Serge Ibaka, he got there Kevin Durant last year, he got there with Russell Westbrook, Victor Oladipo, Paul George. I think John Beilein can do well. Or if there is drafted talent, and Colin Sexton, jury's still out on him. They got I think a top 6 pick this year in a weak draft. 6 is not where you want to be.
Nope, you're too short.
Yeah, so you've gotta have talent. I think his transition, though, says more about college basketball and the fact that this is a guy who loved college basketball. He loved to teach kids. That's part of why he was so successful. And so for him to leave college basketball says more about the state of college basketball than I think it does about a college coach being able to make the transition into the NBA.
All right, newsworthy or nothing to see here. For the first time, the PGA tournament, the Champions Tournament, will have every single 100 top-ranked golfer in the tournament. Newsworthy or nothing to see?
I'll go first because it's nothing to see because Justin Thomas pulled out on Monday.
Well, that's great.
Well, that's just great news reporting there, isn't it?
He pulled out on Monday. So it's nothing to see. I mean, it's hard to get the top 100 to be healthy. And it came close.
Well, I'll go second. I'll say nothing to see because the tournament is 103 years old. And they didn't start ranking golfers until 33 years ago, and this is the first time it happened, so fuck it.
I think it's nothing to see here only because if we'll find out on Saturday if it's something to see if Tiger Woods is in contention.
If people need to hide their wives.
I'll say it's newsworthy just because we had a similar question leading up to the Masters about the big names and would these guys be in the hunt. And outside of Justin, I think we have a chance to see something similar with 4, 5, maybe 6 guys competing down the stretch. If it is as intriguing as the Masters were, in terms of people who are in the hunt down the stretch, then I think it'll be worth watching. But again, like we said before, we're gonna give it the first couple days, and if Sunday ain't looking like it was during the Masters, we watching other things.
Real quick, Les, who you got favorite in the tournament?
I'm gonna go with Tiger.
Really?
Yeah, he's healthy. He's the healthiest he's been. He's coming off. He hasn't played since the Masters, so I'm gonna roll with Tiger.
Yeah. Brooks Koepka.
He's always there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Long and straight. Pause.
Whoa.
Long and straight.
All right, I'm going to take it away from Kenyon right now. Kevin, I'm coming to you first. No pause, because you're my brother.
Whoa, that's just incest.
Game of Thrones.
Okay, Game of Thrones. We got one episode left.
Sometimes if you got to consolidate power, you got,
Is that what you call it, Kev? Consolidate
Keep it in the family.
Keep it in the family. My seeds marry his seeds, roll with his seeds. And that's how what, Kev?
That's nasty.
Y'all all on the short bus.
Y'all all on the short bus.
Shout out to Showtime and Wu-Tang, by the way. Kev,
Yes.
Adam Silver wants there to be a 50-50 ratio for male to female refs and coaches. Newsworthy or nothing to see here?
This is absolutely newsworthy. I think just like anything in life, if you add more women to it, you'll get a different perspective. And I think if that will help cut down on the BS fouls on threes and the arguing back and forth with refs, if they can provide a calmer, more, nurturing approach
Kev, work
to
it.
these playoffs.
I ain't mad at you, Kev.
Then you know what?
Hey,
Listen,
unbutton your shirt.
Unbutton your shirt.
You gotta protect your neck. Come on, man.
Junior Blue. I see what you did there, Kev.
I mean, it's newsworthy. I mean, there's 65 refs, only 3 women.
Yeah.
So to say
better get to
50-50
work.
Exactly. To say 50-50 is definitely newsworthy because a lot of people about to lose their job.
Fired.
Yeah.
I don't care if you male, female, she-male, he-male, whatever. Just get the calls right. These refs are terrible.
Yeah.
So
Only thing I'll say is imagine if this was the NFL, if they would say something like that. Last thing in the NBA, in 2022, the end of the one and done is near. Is that newsworthy or nothing to see here, Kenyon?
I think that it is newsworthy because I think that it is going to diminish the product in college basketball. And as a result of diminishing that product, you're going to get better coaches and better overall basketball because all of the potential will then move to the NBA. So I think that then in turn, that means that when I say diminish the product at the NBA level is going to be trash. It's newsworthy.
I'll say this and I'll pass it to you. I disagree. I think it will definitely change the landscape because trash scouts are going to be trash scouts. They're going to still continue to do that. But I think without the one and done, college basketball might be better for it because we might see those teams that we can remember where people need to stay and hone their skills instead of thinking that they have to be one and done.
The last college basketball team to win a national championship with a one and done star was Carmelo Anthony in Syracuse.
Facts.
Kentucky with the Brow.
Oh, my bad. That was Kentucky with the Brow. That's 2011.
He was on a really good team.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm talking is that one player.
Yeah.
That they had 4 starters that went to the first round.
Yeah, that Anthony Davis squad was loaded.
So one starter. I mean, you had
Kid Gilchrist. Where's he?
Starting in Charlotte.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was players. But my whole thing is, if you look at the teams who've won lately, Villanova, Virginia, none of them have one and dones that are star players.
Yeah.
They might leave after 1 year, but they're not the person who carried them. So that's what I think we're going to see. The reason I called probably 5 years ago that we would see a 16-1 is because you're going to have a whole bunch of 22, 23-year-olds playing against some 18-year-olds.
Yep.
And that's basically what happened. Now, them 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds came back and won it, but that's what we're going to see once these won it. You're also going to see a whole bunch of people get paid that shouldn't get paid.
Kevin, real quick.
Yeah, and that's the point I wanted to make, what Les brought up, was I think it'll also diminish the value of the NBA. Like, I'm good that these guys finally get to get paid that deserve it and that are ready, but at the same time, you got these scouts bringing guys up based off potential that they may never live up to.
My name was Kenyon, and I delivered that message. With
you
that,
can get some of that too.
on that note, we'll get out of here. Omar, we miss you. This has been another episode of Confirmation Bias. Follow us everywhere. Our social media handle is @TheLeagueAM. Check out our website, theleagueam.com. Shout out to our Chief Diplomat Nick Blackman, Diplomatic Immunity. Check that out on our website. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on League Ambassadors.
YouTube.
Oh, yeah. And fuck Pete Sampras' couch.
And we're out.
John McCoon, see you tomorrow, hopefully, for more than half a day.